So what is this I'm showing you? You've seen this at your grandma's house, haven't you, or your mom's house? Maybe you grew up with a flat glass cooktop that everyone hates, right? Not so fast. Let me show you what this is. Let's get some water in this frying pan. This pan's cold, by the way. I'm not gonna hit myself up the head with it, but it is cold. And I'm gonna put some cold water in this pan. Again, cold water, that's not hot at all. Just a little bit, just to show you. I'm gonna set this on this guy. I'll turn it on, we're gonna turn that on. This is an induction cooktop. You hear that buzzing that's going on? Let me show you this. We're gonna give it just a second. Rach is gonna zoom in. If you can see the reflections, you can already see some heat striations coming off this water in there. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that or not in the video, but we'll see. See the bubbles forming on the bottom of the pan? Keep watching, stay tuned for this, because this is gonna show you this is not the same flat glass cooktop that you grew up with. Can you see the steam coming up? We have steam already rising. Now, if you've got kids, tell them to look away. Notice we've got a little bit of a boil. It's boiling, right? We've got boiling water in a pan. I can put my hand on that surface. Do not try that at home unless you know you have an induction cooktop. We're gonna let that go for a minute. Induction cooktop is different than anything on the market, and it's not new. It's been around since the 60s and 70s. Where your red hot toaster oven, flat glass that most people have and they hate, the way that works is that red hot element underneath has to get really, really hot, and then it's got to heat up the glass. The heat has to soak through the glass, get to the pan, soak through the pan, and a couple of years later finally hits the food and starts heating the food. So you get this whole system that's hot. That's why it takes so long to heat up. With induction, think of it like a high frequency electromagnet. It flexes the molecules of the pan. The heat source is the pan. Now, after I've been boiling this for a while, I'm not going to be so fast to put my hand on there because it will get hot. The heat goes backwards through there. But when you look at the control, the first thing people say about those flat glass radiant ovens is they take forever to cool up or to heat up. Then the second thing is they take forever to cool off. Look at this, I'm going to turn it off. It's off instantly, it's done. The boiling stopped almost as soon as I pressed the button. Now, the third thing people hate about them is they're hard to clean, right? Those glass ones are just hard to clean. Why is that? It's because when you have a boil over, the hottest part of that system is that red hot toaster piece underneath the glass. Your glass becomes a griddle. You're frying on your glass, literally. You're actually frying food on your glass. That's why it never wants to come clean. With induction, you can cook on a paper towel. So let me get a piece of paper over here. And let's put this down. If you know the Girl Scouts are coming to your door and you're gonna have to think long and hard about which cookies you want to buy, just put a paper towel down there if you're cooking potatoes, for example. And you can cook on that. Why is that? Because the heat source is the pan. You can't get any closer to your food than that. It is on top of the cooktop, not below it. So it gives you all of the controls that you want. It's faster than gas, it's faster than anything else. People always say, how do you know it's fast? Well, if you go to Consumer Reports, if you're a believer in Consumer Reports, they will tell you it broke their all-time speed record for boiling water. It is the fastest cooking that you'll ever do. Now, we have a lot of fans of gas cooktops. I'm going to pause it for a second. We're going to walk over and take a look at a gas cooktop. Okay, so here we are at a big, giant Miele range. Now, people love these gas cooktops primarily because Viking years and years ago came out with one that had these giant commercial knobs on the front, and it just makes it look really massive and cool and manly, right? Speaking of manly, we like to cook a fire, so let's do fire. Now I'm not going to turn it on, but this is a gas cooktop. Most of you are familiar with what they are. People think that they're faster than induction, but they're not. That's just one part of the story. The other part of the story is how is the energy used? When you have gas coming up here tickling the bottom of the pan, you still have to soak through the pan, so that's why it's not as fast. But the second thing that happens is that heat is really sucked to these curves of the pan as it comes up, and then it comes up here and heats your house. Now, we're in Oklahoma, and as many of you know, if you've spent a couple of summers here, you're going to spend a lot more money in the summertime cooling your house than you do in the wintertime heating. So you're running your air conditioner, it's a July afternoon, you come home, you turn on this fireplace, and you heat your kitchen up 10 to 15 degrees. So watch your loved ones as you're cooking in a house with a big gas burner. If you've got 3 or 4 of these things going, you'll see them over there breaking a sweat. It's not because they're working hard, it's because you got a fireplace going. What else are you doing? You've got carbon monoxide coming off of there. That heat, remember I said it sucks the corner of the pan as it's coming up, it adheres to the side. When you're cooking something like a gravy or a sauce, if you watch in a gas cooktop, the outer ring heats up a lot faster and hotter than the center does because the flame is only on the center for a second, then it's coming up the sides, and it's really hot on the outer edge. You get these micro droplets of whatever it is you're cooking that come and explode, and they're floating all over the air. Now, we have a lot of customers that love to do gas. When we do a gas cooktop, we put the biggest vent hood that we can in that space. Not just the hood, but the pipe going out. Most builders like to use a little 6-inch pipe because it's the minimum required by code. We want 8, 10, 12-inch pipe, whatever we can squeeze into that space with a bigger hood. Now, this is a big 48, so you'd want a big 48-inch hood, maybe even bigger possibly. And then, what's the problem with vent hoods? They're loud and they're obnoxious. To make sure you use the vent hood wherever possible, we like to use remote blowers. So instead of putting the motor here, we put the motor up over the garage, up in the attic, down the hall, over the neighbor's house, wherever we can put that blower. It's going to make this whole system quieter, and therefore your family members are more likely to use it. And that'll get the heat out of the house, that'll get the carbon monoxide out of the house. It just makes cooking more enjoyable on a gas cooktop. And I like gas too. The one real benefit that gas has over induction, as many of us discovered this winter, is it'll work when the power goes out. Because all you got to do is turn the gas on and hit it with a big lighter and you got gas. So how often does that happen? Not enough to warrant me using one. The bigger issue with gas to me is having to lift these things up every time company comes over, and my wife Brenda tells me to get the green beans that are falling out, and cleaning all that. So they're just a pain to clean. Now, back to that manly look again. A lot of people think that the gas is the only way to make a really attractive kitchen. Take a look at our projects on our website, and you'll notice how many times we've installed an induction cooktop, and we made it very, very nice wow factor focal point behind the cooktop. So you can still do a lot of dynamic things with an induction cooktop. A couple other thoughts on there. Induction cooktops typically will have the touch buttons. Let's go back over to that side, and I want to show you this. Okay, this again, the induction cooktop, flat glass. Zoom in over here, Rach. Notice the controls are all touch button controls. Everything on here, you touch it, it comes on, you touch it, it goes off. Now, for me, I'm a little bit older, my eyes are bad. Brenda tells me I need glasses. I tell her all the time I don't need them, I just use yours. It takes a while for me to find the controls because I can't see that well. I'm really a fan of the knobs. Now, knobs have a downside because you got to clean around them, but I just like the feeling of being able to turn it to a 3, 3.5, 4.25, and it is where I put it. So I like that feeling. Viking makes some with knobs, DCS, Fisher-Paykel, they make some with knobs. There's a lot of companies out there, but you just got to look around and find the one you want. Now, another aspect to induction cooking is the energy that's used. When you look up online and read energy consumption for cooktops, you'll see that gas is one of the worst. It's anywhere from 40% on some websites to as high as 70%, meaning 70% of the energy that goes into the appliance actually makes it into eating your food. With induction, it tops out at about 91, 92% in some studies. So much more energy conscious, much more energy effective. And I want to show you one last demonstration of how fast these things truly are. My favorite chef, my favorite Italian chef, Mr. Chef Boyardee raviolis. Let's pop a can here and show you this. I'm going to pop this again. We have a cold pan. Pop that lid. Don't waste any of it. Put that in there. And I'm going to turn around and throw this thing in the trash, but let's get some food in there first. Okay, so there's our raviolis. Now stay on that, Rach. I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to go throw this in the trash. When I get back, what do we have? It's popping already. These are quick. These will outperform gas any day of the week. It is the fastest cooking you'll ever do. When you're done cooking and you want to turn it off, it stops boiling. It gives you all the control you'd ever want, much more precise than gas. If I put this at 2.25, it's there. Every time, predictable results. Thanks for watching our video, guys. Again, check out our website, check out our work. Let us know what kind of questions you have about any project in your home.